Hey, what is going on, everybody? It's Nothing But Skills, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about what they stated in the State of the Game, a little summary of it. So I'll have some clips from the State of the Game. We'll go over the 9.1 patch notes that were released. And then we'll talk about Title Update 10.0, which will have a public test server. So let's get into what they had to say with Title Update 9.1, and then I'll break down the full patch notes in just a second.
So you will have noticed that we did say last week on the show that 9.1 would be coming yesterday. That didn't happen. Chris, why was that?
Yeah, so I had the information of all the fixes obviously last week, and we were going through them. With the work from home situation, it is just the reality that we have to do some more testing and steps before we can, finalize what's going into it. On Monday, we came in and we looked at the status of the patch, and it wasn't ready. We were unsure if a couple of fixes would actually do the things that we want them to do. And as it's an important update on the client side, we didn't want to just put it out and leave some of them out. So we just needed some more time to test if they are doing everything they should be doing. And they now are, but we also found one fix, for example, that doesn't fix what we wanted it to do. So that will be something for a later update. So it's really good that we had the time to do it. I know it's a little unfortunate with Tuesday, Thursday being swapped, especially because the NPC fixes are very much needed as well. But taking a little bit more time was the right choice in this case.
Good to know. That being said, when is 9.1 coming?
Yeah, so the good news is it didn't take that long. So we are now able to deploy it tomorrow on Thursday. That is May 14th. So that will be the usual maintenance time frame, 9:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. CEST. I don't have the other time frames in my head right now, but yeah, it will be coming tomorrow, basically.
So we found out that 9.1 will deploy tomorrow. So if you guys are watching this, it might already be live Thursday, May 14th during the maintenance. So the patch notes, we're going to go over the main points, and then we'll get back into what else they had to say during the State of the Game. So right off the bat, NPC and AI, the development comment, this is what they were focusing this patch on. The balance changes in Title Update 9.1 are intended to eliminate outliners with NPC weapon, abilities, and behaviors. These are specific fixes and the first pass at balancing these outliners. If further adjustments are necessary, then they will be made in Title Update 10, which we'll talk about a little bit in just a second. And we are looking at global NPC balances with Title Update 10. So let's get to some of the main points. So for the patch notes, we talked about a lot of this during some of my videos if you guys have been paying attention to them. We have the NPC status effect nerfs. The developer comments certain NPCs effects were too strong. With Title Update 9.1, we are adjusting their damage to players. These changes also affect PvP status effect. So they reduce the damage caused to players by burn and by bleed. So both of those towards players, so this is in PvP and PvE, will be reduced. Now also NPC weapon nerfs. Certain NPCs weapons dealt significantly more damage than others. These changes should bring more in line with other NPC output capabilities. So the changes they really focused on here were they reduced the damage of the auto cover accuracy of SMG used by Red Bar Hyena Assault Boss. They reduced range of Cleaner Tank Flamethrower. They nerfed the Hyena RC cars. They nerfed the Black Tusk suicide drones. And they also fixed issues where NPCs could throw a Firefly variant, which did an excessive amount of damage to players. They also got with the NPC grenade throw accuracy nerfs, which I talked to you guys about. NPCs were too accurate with their grenades. These changes introduced the idea of each NPC having optimal distance for their grenade accuracy. The further away NPC's target is, the less accurate their grenades will be. The optimal distance varies based on the faction and their veterancy. For example, Outcast throwers, Molotovs optimal distance is 20 meters. The Hyena throwers airbus optimal distance range is 30 meters. If a player is 35 meters away, then the Outcast will be less accurate than the Hyena at that distance. So just an example of how those nerfs came in. The blind fire accuracy nerf, NPC blind fire was too effective. These changes reduced NPC's possible damage output while blind firing. So they reduce how accurate NPCs are while blind firing, and they reduce NPCs no longer blind fire with a shotgun or sniper rifle. NPCs instead switch to a pistol to blind fire with. Also, tank archetypes no longer blind fire their weapon. We also get into the NPC aggressiveness. A lot of you guys have commented on my videos, have told me, hey, I feel like they gotten a lot more aggressive. There's no easy global fix for NPC aggressiveness. There was no intentional desire to increase NPC aggressiveness with TU8. Instead, the shift in global difficulty from TU7 to TU8 surfaced underlying issues with various NPC behaviors, which could result in them being overly aggressive. These fixes only address some sources of the perceived NPC aggressiveness, and they are still investigating other sources and working on fixes. So whatever they don't take care of now in 9.1, hopefully they can hit in 10.0. Changes, they reduce the frequency of aggressiveness of NPC behaviors to advance of hidden targets, players who have not been seen. Fix prolonged aggressive circling caused by NPCs, reaction to targets being too close, those within 5 meters. They fix some status effects reactions, which could cause non-tank NPCs to path towards players aggressively. So you can see right here that they're focusing a lot on how the NPCs act aggressively toward players. They're reducing it. So NPC ability nerfs also was a focus point. Certain NPCs' healing abilities were too strong. These changes reduced their strength. So Black Tusk support station tuning. The legendary version of the support station also now checks in line sight as healing has capped like normal versions. Armor kits no longer completely heal bounties and other bosses, but hunters still heal completely. So they want those hunters to have that edge, right? Changes player buffs. So this is all the players getting buffed. The below adjustments should improve options in players' toolkit to counter NPCs. We're reviewing more changes like these for TU10. Changes, they buff the player's skill survivability, reduce how much damage player skills take from NPCs. We talked about that. They buff the damage of player status effects. So they increase the damage caused to NPCs by bleed, poison, and napalm and snare status effects. And they buff the in-cover blind fire for players, reduce the size of players' hitboxes against NPCs when they are in cover. So that is something that they buff for the players. Also, they talked a little bit on the patch notes about players are now able to purchase instant season level unlocks for this season. So the season's almost over. They're giving those players who don't have enough time or just rather just buy them out. You can purchase a level for 100 premium credits in the season you are. And bug fixes. This is the bug fixes right here. They go into different things. The main one that I really saw that really stood out to me was the first improvements to issues causing FPS drops in the dark zone during extractions and longer play sessions. So that FPS drop in the DZ was really bad for a while and still is, and they get into a lot of different things. So I'll put a link to all of these changes in the description. So if you guys want to read these over yourself, feel free to. But let's get back into what they had to say about Title Update 10 and the PTS coming to before Title Update 10. So let's see.
Before we get to talking to Trick about all that stuff, I do want to give some, well, at least what I think is very, very good news about TU10, and it is that there will be a PTS.
Yeah, so first off, what is the PTS maybe as well? Because I know some people that might be watching don't know what it is. So it's a public test server. That means we are deploying an update that is not live on all servers to that specific server. Access to it will be as it was in the past for PC players only. So if you own the game on PC, you can join the PTS. Again, we know that console players would also like to get their hands on these things. It's a little bit more difficult with that because for a PTS for consoles to be the reality, we have to certify all of the builds that we upload. So we have to talk to Microsoft and Sony and Google and make those things happen. And it just takes more time. More information on when exactly it's coming and all that stuff is going to be coming very soon.
We don't have a date for the PTS and all that sort of stuff just yet. I guess in the coming weeks, Chris will be getting that out.
So there you have it, TU10. So Title Update 10.0 will have a public test server only on PC. And they said the reason, which a lot of people who've been around a while know why, is that doing PTS on console takes a while. They have to get it approved by Microsoft and Sony versus when they do it on Uplay, which is their own platform, they can just release that PTS, let people test it. They can do like a 3-day PTS, get all the feedback, and then implement that into the patch. Versus if they have to wait for Sony, Microsoft to approve it. Then they have to get the approval on it. Once they finally get the approval, it just delays the process and pushes everything back and back. They also address Season 2, and they talk about that in correlation with the PTS, and just listen to what they had to say.
Yeah, so this is what I meant earlier with the PTS. I think we all obviously want Season 2 to start as soon as possible after Season 1 ends, so that there's not too much of a lull But we've also heard feedback loud and clear. We want to have a good patch. We want to have a healthy patch. We want to have as little problems or as few problems as possible. And I think that's a goal that we have to focus on now. What that means exactly for when Season 2 comes out, I can't tell yet because I don't have a glass ball that gives me the future. But if everything goes well, it shouldn't be too late after Season 1 ends. And of course, we'll have more information once we have that settled and we know exactly what we can do and what we can't do. I do want to say that if the PTS goes super well, that will have an impact. And if the PTS goes super terrible and there's super many bugs in there and we have to do a lot of things, then we will not just push out the update. We will then make the adjustments and make changes. So again, we want this PTS to be very, very, very impactful. So that might also have an impact on future content. So the second raid, because it's been a topic and I want to just mention that as well, is still planned to go out in the timeline that we mentioned before. So spring, we again will give you enough heads up to be active in the game if you want to participate in the raid. So I want to say at least 2 weeks before it comes. We don't have an exact date. Again, the PTS will also affect that.
So I think that answers all the questions about the PTS. We still need to know when it comes out, but at least for the season will come shortly after the PTS. That's what I'm gathering from that. And then also Raid 2 will be at least 2 weeks apart from any major balance, which title update 10.0 is going to come out before. So we should have the PTS for TU10, then we should have patch 10.0, and then we should have Raid 2. So that's what we're looking at for the raid for a lot of you guys who were asking. But yeah, this is really what they talked about during this state of the game. The biggest news we have was 9.1 coming out tomorrow. Title update 10 PTS public test server will be coming shortly. And of course, we have the patch notes, and I broke that down for you. Let me know what you guys think about all the changes, all the coming for 9.1. Are you excited about PTS for TU10? Let me know. I will see you guys in the next video. But until then, Nothing But Skills is out.